The standoff between the US and Iran has entered a dangerous new phase, where diplomacy and military force are moving side by side. Yesterday, US President Donald Trump issued a blunt ultimatum to Iran. He warned Iran to make a meaningful deal with Washington, or bad things will happen. It's ironic because Trump was speaking at the inaugural meeting for his so-called Board of Peace. And while on the podium, he made it clear that patience was running out. He also set a deadline for Iran to reach that nuclear deal.
It went into Iran and it totally decimated the nuclear potential. There was a black cloud hanging over the Middle East, and if that wasn't done, that cloud would have been there. And countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, countries like nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. Nobody could have had. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
And his words carry weight because they are backed by visible military movements. The US has deployed dozens of warships and fighter jets near Iranian waters. The growing American armada has triggered speculation that military strikes could be imminent. In fact, a day before Trump's comments, several reports indicated that US forces could be ready to launch attacks as early as this weekend. Although Trump has reportedly not made a final decision yet. Trump's latest warning comes just days after the US and Iran wrapped up their second round of nuclear talks in Geneva. Washington's goal is clear: prevent Tehran from ever obtaining a nuclear bomb. Iran insists it is not pursuing one and maintains its nuclear program is strictly civilian. But there is friction even within the talks. America's ally Israel has now entered the rhetorical battlefield as well, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu adding fuel to the fire.
We are operating in close coordination with our great ally, the United States. I made clear to my friend President Trump the principles that, in Israel's view, should guide any negotiations with Iran. We are prepared for any scenario. And one thing is certain: if the Ayatollahs make the mistake and attack us, they will experience a response they cannot even imagine.
Tehran, meanwhile, has responded with its own threats. Iran's ambassador to the United Nations warned in a letter to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres that US bases and assets would become legitimate targets if America attacks. President Masoud Pezeshkian has insisted that Iran does not want a war, but also signaled that it will not simply give in to foreign pressure. Tehran is also particular about its nuclear program, saying that no country can deprive it of its enrichment rights. Amid tensions, Germany has now reduced its troop presence in northern Iraq. And inside Iran, nuclear sites are reportedly being fortified and covered in soil. Satellite images show that the country is also rebuilding missile production facilities. So diplomacy is still alive between the US and Iran, but it is surrounded by warships. The next 10 days may decide whether this crisis ends at the negotiating table or explodes far beyond it.
The streets roared her name. Supporters climbed rooftops. History seemed ready to repeat itself. Then it happened. A flash. A burst. Panic swallowing cheers. In seconds, Benazir Bhutto was gone. Not voted out, not defeated, but assassinated. Catch the full story on the assassination at these times, only